Evening everyone, how are we doing? Welcome along to this Turfcast podcast quiz. We're doing it live on the Facebook and we're doing it on my quiz as well. For those of you who have missed the videos or you might just be joining the stream now, haven't seen any information in the event, like I said, you can play along on my quiz as well as just playing along on the stream. And the link is in the bottom of this, and when you get that link you should come up to the quiz that we've created on my quiz by myself and a chap called Adam from the Clarets quiz, and yeah, everything will be on there as well. Obviously I'll be reading out the questions as well, so if you do just want to play along on the Facebook stream then you can. You don't have to go to my quiz, but we recommend that you do because it gives like a live league table and things like that. Adam's the one doing the quiz on my quiz. I'll just be here on Facebook reading the questions out and things like that. So big shout out to Adam, like I said, and he's from the Clarets quiz, so please go and check him out on Instagram as well for some daily Clarets quizzes. I've been doing it myself and that's why I got in touch with him. They really are fantastic to do and I've been really enjoying it. Essentially, this will work as there'll be 60 questions, there'll be 12 rounds of 5 questions, all built by Adam, like I said. And as mentioned, there are 2 ways you can play. You can either do it on my quiz. The link, like I said, is in the bottom. If you haven't got it, just give us a shout. I'll try and put it in the bottom again before we start, because we're not going to start for about another few minutes yet. And so I'm just hoping that everyone can get on the quiz and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll just, like I said, I've got plenty of people already in, I think, but we're just going to wait a few more minutes and hopefully get a few more people in. So we're not going to start it just yet. We're going to wait a few minutes. I'll just text the quizmaster as well and I'll make sure he's pretty much ready and raring to go. I believe that he is. Just give him a text. Let us know where you're watching from, please. Hopefully not everyone's just from the town. I know we have followers all over the world, so hopefully there's a few of you watching from somewhere in the world. I've already seen comments from co-host Simon and Simon Marus, who I think that's how you pronounce your last name, isn't it? But probably not, to be fair. Who's a regular follower of the podcast as well. And if you haven't as well, please do check out the podcast. Just had a text message off the quizmaster, by the way. He is pretty much ready. If you haven't already, please do check out our podcast. We've been going for quite a while now. Start of this season, I think we started, didn't we? And yeah, we're doing quite well, I think. So if you haven't already, please do check that out and things like that. As I've mentioned, I wanted some people to let us know where they're watching from. Shout out to Stefan Wilson. He's watching from next door but 2. He lives just a couple of doors up. So shout out to Steph. Hopefully there's people a little bit further away. I know my missus is watching it in the next room as well, so there is someone closer. But hopefully there's a few people a bit further away as well. We're just going to get ready then. We'll start the quiz, like I say, in a couple of minutes. I've got myself a beer. Hope you boys have all got yourself a beer and ready, or a coffee, if you're teetotal, for example. Right, I've just had a message off the quizmaster. He's ready to go when I tell him to go. Just so you're aware, there'll be a 3-second countdown in your browsers on my quiz if you're playing along on there. So please make sure that you're ready and waiting, because I'm going to be asking him to do it probably when it gets to 5 past, so it's less than a minute now. Shout out to Leanne Darby, who's also watching. I know she's a follower of the page and things like that. She's been in touch a few times. I think she listens to the podcast as well, so shout out to Leanne as well. And shout out to Simon Marus, who says I pronounced his surname correctly. I'm surprised at that. I do tend to get people's names wrong on the podcast. I've had some absolute shockers. Simon Townley will tell you. I had some absolute shockers. But we've given it a few minutes now. Simon's watching in Roseville, by the way. We've given it a few minutes now, so... Oh, Simon, hold on. We have to wait for Simon Townley. He's only just registered now, even though he is a co-host on the podcast and he has known for a long time about this. So we'll just give it a minute, Adam, and then we'll wait for Simon's go ahead. When he's ready, we will start the quiz. Just have a quick drink. Jared Warren's here as well. Shout out to Jared, Simon's brother. But we are waiting for Simon Jared. He's registering on my quiz now. I'm not going to wait for you as well, Jared. You probably would have done it, to be fair. But you don't need to register on my quiz if you are panicking now and trying to set up on my quiz. But you don't need to do that if you don't want to. You can just watch my mug on the screen. There is going to be a picture round. So being on my quiz will help that. However, I have got the pictures in here, so I can put them up ready and waiting. Shout out to Sandra as well, mother-in-law. She's watching. How are you doing, Sandra? Hope you're all right. Right, Adam, quiz master, if it's all right with you, I think we'll get started now. I think it's time for us to get started. So hopefully you're all on the correct page. Just waiting for it to reload. I'm on the page as well, obviously, so I can see what's happening and things like that. Simon Marus is opening a beer. Good lad. Right, the countdown has started. Right, so question number 1. Who scored Burnley's first league goal of the season? So who scored Burnley's first league goal of the season? You've got 4 options. A. Ashley Barnes. B. Johan Berg Gudmundsson. C. Sam Vokes. Or D. Chris Wood. So we're just on the first question. So who scored Burnley's first goal of the league season? I'm playing along as well, by the way. I have been sent the quiz already, obviously, by Adam. And he has sent me the answers, but I haven't looked into the answers too much. I'm playing along here with you as well. I won't be telling you who I'm guessing for, obviously. Shout out to... There we go. The answer is Ashley Barnes. You should probably have known that. I know 71% of you did know it. One of you went for Chris Wood. A couple of you went for Chris Wood. But the answer was Ashley Barnes. Obviously scored the opening goal against Southampton on the first game of the season. Right, question 2. Which player scored twice when Burnley beat Norwich City in September 2019? Was it A. Jack Cork, B. Jeff Hendrick, C. Dwight McNeil, or D. Chris Wood? So that's which player scored twice when Burnley beat Norwich City in September 2019. Shout out to Simon, who's admitting that he's already got the first question wrong. And I presume you got it wrong as well on that one, Simon. Most of you got it right again. Most of you selected Chris Wood on this one, so the answer was Chris Wood. A couple of you went for Dwight McNeil as well. But the answer was Chris Wood. Right, question 3. Which Everton player was sent off at Turf Moor in October 2019? Was it A. Seamus Coleman, B. Lucas Digne, C. Fabian Delph, or D. Yerry Mina? So was it A. Seamus Coleman, B. Lucas Digne, C. Fabian Delph, or D. Yerry Mina? Which Everton player was sent off at Turf Moor in October 2019? And of course, the answer was Seamus Coleman. More of you got this right than what got the opening day of the season goal right. That's worrying, lads. I'll be honest with you. And lasses. Shout out to Steph, who's already leading the way with a massive 4 points. I expected this from Steph, to be honest. Right, question 4. James Tarkowski scored his only goal of the season so far against which club in November 2019? Was it Watford, West Ham United, Chelsea, or Manchester City? So James Tarkowski scored his only goal of the season so far against which club in November 2019? Was it Watford, West Ham United, Chelsea, or Manchester City? I presume Simon will get this one right. Talk is his best bet. And of course, it was Watford. So the answer was Watford. Shout out to Steph. He's extended his lead at the top of the leaderboard to a massive 8 points. Right, question 5. Apologies, I missed to start that question. I'm having a drink. In February, Burnley beats Bournemouth 3-0 at Turf Moor. Who scored Burnley's opener after 53 minutes? So in February, Burnley beat Bournemouth 3-0 at the Turf. Who scored Burnley's opener after 53 minutes? Was it Jack Cork, Ben Mee, Jeff Hendrick, or Matej Vydra? So was it Jack Cork, Ben Mee, Jeff Hendrick, or Matej Vydra? And the answer was, of course, Matej Vydra. Shout out to Steph. I think he's got that one wrong, actually. His lead at the top has been cut to 29 points. To 1 point. The second guy now is Dunk BFC, and he's on 29. Steph's on 30. And it's actually a bit of a... I'm 4th at the minute, so I'll take that, because I'm trying to do this and of course, answer at the same time. Anyway, moving on to round 2. If the Quizmaster can just pause this one here while I get the picture up for the people on Facebook. So the question is, which shirt does this season come from? I'll just get the picture up there for you watching on the stream. There we go. So which season does this picture come from? So which is this Which season was this shirt worn in? So is it A, 2015-16, B, 2016-17, C, 2018-19, or D, 2019-20? So which season was his shirt worn in? Was it 2015-16, 2016-17, 2018-19, or 2019-20? I won't be focusing on answering the questions on this round, I don't think, because I need to get the pictures up for those of you that aren't on my quiz. But the answer was 2016-17. Obviously, that's a picture from the famous win at Crystal Palace. If you've been paying attention to the club's streams on YouTube, you would have watched this one recently. Cracking game. I didn't go to it, though, but I watched it at yours, Simon, I believe. Right, so the next one, we will just quickly get it up for those of you watching on Facebook. There we go, that's the right one. So which season does this picture come from? Was it 2008-09, 2011-12, 2013-14, or 2017-18? So which season does this picture come from? Is it 2008-2009, 2011-2012, 2013-2014, or 2017-2018? Still got around 15 seconds to answer this one because, of course, I made Adam pose a quiz. Steph's still in the lead, by the way, but Dunk BFC's coming. Come on, Dunk. I'm rooting for Dunk. The answer was, of course, 2013-14. Oh, unfortunately, Dunk, Steph's extended his lead at the top. He obviously answered quicker. In case you didn't realise, by the way, you do get more points the quicker you answer the question. Right, so which season does this picture come from? An iconic player wearing an iconic shirt. So we'll just quickly get it up on the Facebook stream. There it is, nice and quick. I've got hang of it now. So which season does this picture come from? Was it 69-70, 76-77, 81-82, or 1990-91? So is it 69-70, 76-77, 81-82, 90-91? Again, you've still got quite a long time to answer this question because Adam posed it for us. And the answer was 76-77. Famous kit, that one, obviously with the V down the front. I think it's what last season's was modelled on, weren't it? Because it had the faint V's on the front. Didn't change colour, but was there anyway. Right, next question. So, which season does this picture come from? I'll quickly change it on the Facebook stream. Obviously, a very iconic picture and a very iconic person in the picture. So, which season does this picture come from? Is it 82-83, 86-87, 89-90, and 91-92? So, which season does this picture come from? 82-83, 86-87, 89-90, or 1991/92? Obviously, if I would presume everybody will get this right. I know there are a few people in here that aren't massive Clarets. My missus and the mother-in-law will probably be perfect examples. But thanks for your support. But I think the majority should get this one right. So it was, of course, 86-87. Ian Britton in the picture there, scoring in the Orient game. An absolute legend in my eyes and everyone's eyes in this quiz. I would presume. I would hope. Right, I've already changed the one on the Facebook stream. I'm getting the hang of it now. So which season does this picture come from? Well, which season was this shirt worn in? So is it 1982-83, 87-88, 1990-91, or 1992-93? So was it 1982-83, 87-88, 1990-91, or 1992-93? This one, by the way, is one of my favourite shirts. Absolutely love it. It's quality. Simon says, I want this shirt. I thought you had it. But the answer was, of course, 82-83. Absolutely iconic shirt. I love that shirt. So I believe that's the end of the second round, which was, of course, shirts/pictures. So I will get rid of There we go. You've got my face back again. I've realised what I have forgot to do is put these banners up at the bottom. So there we go. I'll stick it out now. So the next round is 2015-16. Joey Barton scored his first goal for Burnley against which club? Was it A, Brighton and Hove Albion, B, MK Dons, C, QPR, or D, Wolves? So was it A, Brighton and Hove Albion, B, MK Dons, C, QPR, or D, Wolverhampton Wanderers? Joey Barton scored his first goal for Burnley against which club? And the answer was, of course, MK Dons. I don't really remember the goal myself, to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest with that one. I don't remember. I did get this one right. I've only got one wrong so far. It was in the shirt round, so I forgive myself for that. I had too much to do. Right, who finished that season, so 2015-16, so who finished that season as the top goal scorer? Was it Andre Gray, Danny Ings, Sam Vokes, or Ashley Barnes? So who finished the 2015-16 season as the top goal scorer? Was it Andre Gray, Danny Ings, Sam Vokes, or Ashley Barnes? Shout out to Sam, has got another question wrong. Oh, Dunk BFC's closing the gap. Go on, Dunk lad. And the answer for that one was, of course, Andre Gray. Had a class season that season. Some people still want him at the club. One thing he did provide is plenty of pace. Oh, Dunk. Steph's extended his lead, unfortunately. I fully expected Steph to win this, and I'll say that probably a lot during the night. Oh, Simon will definitely get this one right. So Matthew Loughton signed for Burnley from which club? Was it A, Aston Villa, B, Sheffield United, C, Sheffield Wednesday, or D, West Brom? So Matthew Loughton signed for Burnley from which football club? A, Aston Villa, B, Sheffield United, C, Sheffield Wednesday, or D, West Brom? Simon, we all know you know this one. Best friends with Matty is, lad. And it was, of course, Aston Villa. A huge 93.8% of you got that one right. Shout out to whoever selected Sheffield Wednesday. Steph Wilson still at the top of the leaderboard. Dunk in second and Jordan Crosdale in third and me in fourth. So, the 2015-16 season, which club knocked Burnley out of the FA Cup in the fourth round? Was it Arsenal, Lincoln City, Middlesbrough, or Southampton? So, which club knocked Burnley out of the FA Cup in the fourth round? Was it Arsenal, Lincoln City, Middlesbrough, or Southampton? Less said about Lincoln City, the better, please. And it was, of course, Arsenal. A lot of you gone for Lincoln City there. Apologies if I've led you on to that by saying what I said about Lincoln, but I think that was the season after. Or a couple of seasons after. Very embarrassing. I fully expected us to get through that day and quite easily. I thought we were going to go on a cut run. Obviously not. So, the next question and the final question of this round. Burnley won 3-0 in the final game of the season at which club? Was it Charlton Athletic, Derby County, QPR, or Reading? Well, so Burnley won 3-0 in the final game of the season at which club? Was it Charlton Athletic, Derby County, QPR, or Reading? Shout out to Sandra. Peter said Lincoln. Peter, you were wrong, mate. And this one was, of course, Charlton Athletic. We won the title there. A famous day in Burnley history, I think it's fair to say. Let's quickly have a look at the leaderboard. So, Steph's still on top. Dunk BSC still in second. We've got Jordan in third. Me in fourth. Cav in fifth. I can only see the top five on my screen. So if you're not there, you're not worth a mention, apparently. Right, so the next round is a titles round. In which year did Burnley first win the top flight of English football? So in which year did Burnley first win the top flight of English football? Again, pretty much everyone should get this one right. So in which year did Burnley first win the top flight of English football? Was it 1900 or 1, 1920, 21, 1940, 41, or 1960, 61? If you are just joining us, by the way, we are going to be doing this on a weekly basis, hopefully. Definitely during lockdown anyway. We'll definitely carry it on during lockdown. We've got nothing else to do. See, a few of you have been fooled by the 60-61 option. I'm pretty sure that's why Adam put it there. Let's have a thumbs up from the missus. Oh, she got that one right. I'm very surprised at that one. Oh, first one she's got right. I'm not surprised at that. Yep, Simon's missed the keyword. No one's surprised there because Simon don't pay attention. Right, so when Burnley won the league in 59-60, which club finished behind them in second place? Was it Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday, West Brom or Wolverhampton Wanderers? So when Burnley won the league title in the 59-60, which club finished behind them in second place? Was it Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday, West Brom or Wolverhampton Wanderers? Thank you for pausing it there, Adam. I hadn't selected my answer there. But it was, of course, Wolverhampton Wanderers. If you've been paying attention to the club's Twitter feed yesterday, they did like a on this day sort of thing, Twitter feed. And they did mention that the Wolves manager was in the stand at Main Road when we won the league. I think if we hadn't won that game or if we lost, they'd have won it. So he went there to watch and hopefully watch us lose. So he'd have won the league. But Clarets were better than that. So who played 41 games in goal when Burnley won the league title in 59-60? Was it A. Adam Blacklow, B. Harry Thompson, C. Alan Stevenson or D. Jerry Dawson? So who played 41 games in goal when Burnley won the league title in 1959-60? It was Adam Blacklow, Harry Thompson, Alan Stevenson or Jerry Dawson. And again, if you were paying attention to the Turfcast feeds recently, you'd have got this one right because I put an interview up with him. No, I didn't interview him, like obviously an interview with him from back in the day. And the answer was, of course, Adam Blacklow, an absolute legend. He's another legend in the eyes of the majority of Burnley fans. All Burnley fans, I would hope. Right, so next question. Who managed Burnley to the 4th Division title in 91-92? Was it Brian Miller, Frank Casper, Jimmy Mullen or Stan Ternent? So who managed Burnley to the 4th Division title in 1991-92? Was it Brian Miller, Frank Casper, Jimmy Mullen or Stan Ternent? Again, I presume the most of you will get this one right. I've noticed a few people are actually answering the questions in the comments before they've even come up on my screen, so apologies if I'm a little bit behind. It was, of course, Jimmy Mullen. Jimmy Mullen's Claret and Blue Army. I was only 4 at the time. But still, I've seen the videos from York and stuff, as I'm sure the majority of you have. So, in 2015-16, Burnley won the championship and famously went 23 games undefeated, but how many games did they lose in the league that season? I do know this one. Was it 4, 5, 6 or 7? So in the 2015-16 season, Burnley won the championship and famously went 23 games undefeated, but how many games did they lose in the league that season? Was it 4, 5, 6 or 7? Oh, Steph and Dunk, BFC are level on points now. Go on, Dunk. And the answer was, of course, 5. And we lost all of them 5 in the first half of the season. We got beat on Boxing Day, didn't we? And just turned it around from then. And then, of course, went 23 games undefeated. So that's the end of that round. So a quick look at the league table. And Dunk's got ahead of Steph. And look at Steph. Jordan's still in 3rd and he's now only 8 points behind Steph. I think the gap was a little bit higher than that at one point. I'm 4th and I'm very proud of that considering I've got to do this. I reckon I'd be top if I weren't having to do this. Sorry, Dunk, but I do. Right, next round is the 2008-09 season. So which goalkeeper started the first league game of the season? Was it Brian Jensen, Diego Penne, Gabo Corrales or Lee Grant? So which goalkeeper started the first league game of the season? Was it A, Brian the Beast Jensen? Was it B, Diego Penne, C, Gabo Corrales or D, Lee Grant? I was at this game. And I won't reveal what happened just in case it's any of the next questions just yet. But my God. How did we go up that season? On the basis of that game. And the answer was, of course, I think this one will fool a lot of you. Oh no, most of you got it right. The answer was, of course, Diego Penne. A lot of you have gone for Brian Jensen. Obviously, that's the reason why it's there. To try and fool you all. He knows what he's doing, does Adam? He's not thick. He knows what he's doing. He's reeling you all in. Well, 35.3% of you. Oh, Steph's gone back to the top of the league. Right, so who scored Burnley's opening goal of the season in that defeat on the opening day of the season at Hillsborough? Was it A, Martin Patterson, B, Chris Eagles, C, Robbie Blake, or D, Wade Elliott? So who scored Burnley's opening goal of the season in that defeat at Hillsborough? Was it A, Martin Patterson, B, Chris Eagles, C, Robbie Blake, or D, Wade Elliott? Now, my memory of this game is we got beat 3-0, obviously not. So I'll probably get this one wrong. I've just guessed, to be honest. Oh, I got it right. Get in there. The answer is Martin Patterson. I do not remember that goal. I'm probably too angry to remember it, to be honest. So the answer was, of course, Martin Patterson. Nice spread of answers there. The majority of you did get Martin Patterson right, though. Right, who scored his only goal of the season in the 3-1 away win at Coventry in October? Was it Stephen Caldwell, Clark Carlisle, Michael Duff, or Joey Goodjohnson, the original Iceman? Who scored his only goal of the season in the 3-1 away win at Coventry in October? Was it A, Stephen Caldwell, B, Clark Carlisle, C, Michael Duff, or D, Joey Goodjohnson? 2008-09 season was one a lot of you remember quite well, for obvious reasons. It's one I can remember a bit better because I was 21 at the time, not 4. So the answer was Michael Duff. I got that one right. I don't know why, but I weirdly remember that one. A lot of you went for Stephen Caldwell. Obviously, you all realise it, rear defender. But the answer was Michael Duff, current Cheltenham town manager. Probably didn't do his Duff dance I don't think he'd invented the Duff dance at that point, had he? Right, which midfielder scored twice to knock Arsenal out of the League Cup at Turf Moor in that season? Was it A, Wade Elliott, B, Graham Alexander, C, Chris McCann, or D, Kevin McDonald? So which midfielder scored twice to knock Arsenal out of the League Cup at Turf Moor? Was it A, Wade Elliott, B, Graham Alexander, C, Chris McCann, or D, Kevin McDonald? I think a lot of you will get this right. And the answer was, of course, Kevin McDonald. Kind of introduced himself onto the scene with that one, didn't he? Is he still at Fulham? They were at Fulham last season, weren't he? Right, next question. So, who scored the opening goal of the 2-0 away win at Reading in the playoff semi-final second leg? Was it Graham Alexander, Wade Elliott, Martin Patterson, or Stephen Thompson? So, who scored the opening goal in the 2-0 away win at Reading in the playoff semi-final second leg? Was it Graham Alexander, Wade Elliott, Martin Patterson, or Stephen Thompson? We have recently shown this a lot on the Turfcast pages because it is my favourite Burnley goal ever, I think. Tom Scott's put his answer in the comments. We got it wrong, Tom, unfortunately. The answer was, of course, Martin Patterson. Absolute screamer as well from Patterson. Bit of a debate we had on the Turfcast pages recently about which goal do you prefer, the Patterson one or the Thompson one. We'll just quickly pause it there as well. We'll have a look at the league table. So Steph's gone back on top. Fair play, Steph. Dunk BFC is now 10 points behind in second. We've got Cav in third, me in fourth, and R.D. Bleasdale in fifth. Simon got it wrong. Disappointed in you, mate. If anyone wants to be on Turfcast, I think we need to replace Simon. He's got far too many questions wrong. You can be my new co-host. Let's have a quick beer before we get to the next round. Quick swig of the beer, should I say. Right. So the next round is questions all about Stan Turnham. So Stan Turnham became Burnley manager in June 1998 and was in charge until May 2004, who spent that time working as his assistant manager and number 2. Was it Sam Ellis, Brian Flynn, Ronnie Moore, or Neil Warnock? So who was Stan's number 2 during his time in charge? Bit of a blast from the past, this one. I pretty confident with this one. Totally forgot about him. Ronnie Moore. He's a legend of the game. Of the lower leagues, anyway. Neil Warnock probably is, but not to us. The answer was, of course, Sam Ellis. Who's gone for Ronnie Moore? Ronnie Moore would have been a character at Burnley. He was a character anyway, were Ronnie, lad. Right, so the answer for that one was, of course, Sam Ellis. Moving on to the next question. Just got a few seconds to go. So, in Stan's first year in charge, he broke the club transfer record to bring which player to the club for 750 grand? Was it Glenn Little, Andy Payton, Lenny John Rose or Steve Davis? So, in Stan's first year in charge, he broke the club transfer record to bring which player to the club for 750k? Bring him back to the club, should I say. And the answer was Steve Davis. I think a lot of you, I did anyway, I went for Glenn. I'm disappointed in myself because I should know that Chris Waddle brought him in. But the answer was, of course, Steve Davis. The battle at the top is still 10 points. Steph's still leading though. So, promotion to the First Division was sealed on the final day of the 1999-2000 season with a 2-1 away win at which club? Was it Bury, Grimsby Town, Preston North End or Scunthorpe United? Promotion to the First Division was sealed on the final day of the 1999-2000 season with a 2-1 away win at which club? I think it's the 20th anniversary for this on Wednesday. Or around then, isn't it? Yeah, it's the 3rd. It was 6th of May. So it'll be Wednesday. Presume the club will be doing something. And the answer is, of course, Scunthorpe United. 5.9% of you have selected Preston. That would have been enjoyable. They were already up, actually, weren't they? I think they won the league, didn't they? We finished second. But the answer was, of course, Scunthorpe United. I, again, wasn't at this game. I was one of the ones watching it at the turf on the big screen. It's one of my biggest regrets in life not going to that game. Alright, Stan Turner once again broke Burnley's transfer fee in November 2000 when he brought which striker to the club from Stockport County for £1 million? Was it Andy Cook, Alan Lee, Ian Moore or Gareth Taylor? So Stan Turner once again broke Burnley's transfer fee in November 2000 when he brought which striker to the club from Stockport County for £1 million? Was it Andy Cook, Alan Lee, Ian Moore or Gareth Taylor? Simon again knows this one because again he was one of his friends. We actually spoke about it this week on the podcast, didn't we, Simon? And it was, of course, Ian Moore. Didn't we famously sign someone not long after him for £1,001,000 just to try and break the transfer record again? I don't know if that's correct, it's just a weird memory I've got. As Steph extends his lead at the top to 13 points. Right, so flying high in the First Division with promotion to the Premier League a real possibility. Burnley were knocked out of the FA Cup at the 4th round stage in 2001 or 2, losing 2-1 away at which lower league club? Was it Cheltenham Town, Hartlepool United, Rochdale or Tranmere Rovers? So flying high in the First Division, promotion to the Premier League was a real possibility, but Burnley were knocked out of the FA Cup at the 4th round stage in 2001 or 2, losing 2-1 away at which lower league club? I don't remember this one. I'm going to be honest. Sandra says get in. She must have got the last one right. Just reading a comment from Jonathan Darby who says his 13-year-old lad's getting cross because they don't know some of the older ones. Apologies, mate. I've got it wrong. I went for Hartlepool, but it was Cheltenham Town. Most of you got that one right. I don't remember that one, I'll be honest with you. So the answer for that one was Cheltenham Town. My guess is that the young Derby lad didn't get that one right as well. We won't remember it, unfortunately. We can't just limit ourselves to just like the last few seasons, unfortunately, buddy. But please come back next week. We're going to try and do this every week, like we said, especially during lockdown. Right, so we're moving on to the next round after this one. Steph has well extended his league now. He is a lot further in front. I'm not going to try and work that out very quickly. Right, so this round is on the old enemy and our derbies against them. So the Horse Fiddlers, true or false, the first league meeting between Burnley and Blackburn took place at Turf Moor in November 1883 and Blackburn won the game 7-1. So is that true or is that false? The first league meeting between Blackburn and Burnley took place at Turf Moor in November 1883 and Blackburn won the game 7-1. I think next week I'll try and do this and not play at the same time because I keep not being able to read easy words. So I've gone for false just in sheer hope, but I was wrong. It's true. So the answer is true. The first league meeting between Blackburn and Burnley took place at Turf Moor in 1883, and Blackburn won the game 7-1. I think there'd be a meltdown if that happened now. Imagine social media now. I, for one, will be one of the people getting angry on social media as well. I'm not going to lie. Right, Burnley beat Blackburn 2-1 at Ewood Park in April 1979, but which player who went on to win the European Cup with Aston Villa scored Burnley's winner? I think I know this one. So Burnley beat Blackburn 2-1 at Ewood Park in 1979. Which player who went on to win the European Cup with Aston Villa scored Burnley's winner? Was it Gordon Cowans, Tony Morley, Dennis Mortimer or Gary Shaw? So Gordon Cowans, Tony Morley, Dennis Mortimer or Gary Shaw? I think I know this one. I have made an educated guess. It's a guess, but it's an educated guess. And the answer is Tony Morley. I got it right. Don't know why I knew that one. I just did. Steph's still at the top of the leaderboard with Dunk BFC in second, Cav in third, I'm in fourth, and Mark Peel. That's a new name on the leaderboard. He must have snuck up there. He's now only 3 points behind me. So in December 2000, the teams met at Turf Moor. Which Burnley player was sent off for a slightly late challenge on David Dunn? I think even people who aren't Burnley fans will know this. So in December 2000, the teams met at Turf Moor. Which Burnley player was sent off for a slightly late challenge on David Dunn? Was it Kevin Ball, Paul Cook, John Mullin or Paul Weller? So Kevin Ball, Paul Cook, John Mullin or Paul Weller. Here comes the boom indeed, Simon. There's a brilliant video of this on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Anthony David has put his answer in the comments and he's got it right. Spot on, lad. So it was, of course, Kevin Ball. Burnley legend just for that tackle. I think it's fair to say. He's someone I won't mind actually getting on the podcast and talking through that tackle. Right, so you need to select two answers for this one. So select the two players who scored when Burnley beat Blackburn 2-1 at Ewood Park in March 2014. So I will just quickly select mine. I want to make sure I get it right. So select the two players who scored when Burnley beat Blackburn 2-1 at Ewood Park in March 2014. So you've got the choices of Danny Ings, Jason Shackle, Junior Stanislas and Sam Vokes. So Danny Ings, Jason Shackle, Junior Stanislas and Sam Vokes. All of these four, of course, at some point for Burnley, scored against the Horse Fiddlers. And the answer is, of course, probably before my son was born, of course, the best day of my life. Danny Ings and Jason Shackle, of course. Someone's gone for Sam Vokes. I think he scored in the home game that season, didn't he? Oh no, because he scored against him in a header at some point anyway, I remember. Last minute equaliser it were, weren't it? Moving on to the next question. How many days is it since Blackburn Rovers last beat Burnley in a competitive fixture? Good answer. Good question, Adam. Very much like this question. It gives me a lot of satisfaction, this question. So how many days is it since Blackburn Rovers last beat Burnley in a competitive fixture? Is it 674 days, 1,082 days, 2,128 days, or 3,690 days? I won't do that. I won't read them out again because it was quite difficult. But I'll give you a clue. It was a very, very long time ago. Very long time ago. They just don't beat us anymore. Shout out to any Horse Fiddlers if you're watching. You're on the wrong stream if you are. So the answer was, of course... Just wait for the quiz to be unpaused. The answer was, of course... 3,690 days. When you think of the fact that it has been over 10 years... It's pretty obvious. As Anthony Davis says, 10 years in March just gone, correct, buddy? So that's the end of that round. Steph's still on the top of the lead. He's extending his lead now. He's 28 points clear. I think Dunk's charge on the title has slowed down, I think it's fair to say. We've got Dunk in second, Cav in third, and I'm in fourth with Mark Peel still only 3 points behind me in fifth. But who managed Burnley to the 1959-60 First Division title? Was it Frank Casper, Harry Potts, Brian Miller or Joe Brown? So who managed Burnley to the 1959-60 First Division title? Was it Frank Casper, Harry Potts, Brian Miller or Joe Brown? And this round, by the way, is all about Burnley managers. Anthony David is asking if he's on the board. Unfortunately, mate, you're not in the top 5 now, and I can only see the top 5. You probably are on the board, just a little bit further down. Kieran Phillips has put his answer in there. And well done. 100% of people got that one right. I think that's the first one we've had that. So give yourselves all a pat on the back. So the answer was, of course, Harry Potts. And again, if you'd been paying attention to the club's social media feeds over the last couple of days, you'd have seen pictures of him with the trophy and stuff. So the captain of the title-winning side became the next manager of the club when he took over from Harry Potts in February 1970. What was his name? So the captain of the title-winning side became the next manager of the club when he took over from Harry Potts in February 1970. What was his name? Was it Jimmy Adamson, John Angus, Alan Brown or Harry Thompson? So Jimmy Adamson, John Angus, Alan Brown or Harry Thompson? And the answer was, of course, Jimmy Adamson. 70% of people got that one right. Mark Peel's caught me by 1 point. To be fair, Mark, I'm trying to do this and answer at the same time, so it's quite difficult. That's my excuse anyway. Right, in 1983, Burnley broke from tradition and offered the job to a man with no connection to Turf Moor. It turned out to be one of the most regrettable decisions in the club history. What was his name? Was it John Bond, Tommy Kavanagh, Brian Miller or Jimmy Mullen? So in 1983, Burnley broke from tradition and offered the job to a man with no connection to Turf Moor. What was his name? Was it John Bond, Tommy Kavanagh, Brian Miller or Jimmy Mullen? And even I've got this one right. Hopefully I've been fast enough to stop Mark Peel from catching in the ground on me. I think next week I won't bother playing along. I'll just put too much pressure on myself. The answer was, of course, John Bond. And as Adams put in the question, it did turn out to be one of the most regrettable decisions in the club's history. Didn't go right, as Kieran Phillips points out. It says, absolute nightmare. Anthony's been in touch as well. He said, signed all his City boys and overpaid and overaged. Phil Moore's been in touch, almost bankrupt the club. It didn't go right. You're all spot on. Right, which popular player became the club's first ever player manager in March 1996? So which popular player became the club's first ever player manager in March 1996? Was it Adrian Heath, Kurt Norgan, Brian Laws or Chris Waddle? And I'm a little bit annoyed with myself because I've gone for the obvious. I know I've got it wrong already. So, which popular player became the club's first ever player manager in March 1996? Was it Eddie Heath, Kurt Norgan, Brian Laws or Chris Waddle? I'd have got this one right just so everyone knows if I weren't having to do this at the same time. The answer is, of course, Eddie Heath. I've been roped in by Chris Waddle, and that's why I just put it there, to rope people in. That's what's happened. I've been roped in. Inchie, I forgot about that nickname. To be fair, I was only 8 at the time. I forgot they called him that. Why did they call him that? Someone get in touch and let me know. Malcolm, Chris Waddle, that's what I put. It's wrong. That were a year after, weren't it? Oh, the next question's on. Sorry, I'm too busy chatting to you guys. Right, so which manager famously led Burnley to the Premier League in 2009, only to leave for Bolton Wanderers midway through the club's first ever season back in the top flight? Well, this one's opened up some old wounds. So, which manager famously led Burnley to the Premier League in 2009, only to leave for Bolton Wanderers midway through the club's first season back in the top flight? Because of his height. Right, that makes sense. Cheers, Kieran. Wasn't the tallest. So this one's opened up a few old wounds, but we'll have to read his name out when we get to it. A lot of you already are booing in the comments and calling him Judas. Rightly so, boys. Well done. Rightly so. Never forget. Never forget. 100% if you got that right. A lot of heartbroken clarets out there. Mark Peel's overtaken me. I am gutted. I am gutted. That's the end of that round. We'll just quickly pause here. Have a look at the leaderboard again. So Steph's still out on top. We've got Dunk BFC in second, Cav in third. It's all the same names in the top three, really. But then Mark Peel has overtaken me into fourth, and I am currently in fifth. Right, so this section, this round is all on the turf. So questions about turf, our beloved ground. True or false? Turf Moor was the only football ground to be visited by Queen Victoria. So true or false? Turf Moor was the only football ground to be visited by Queen Victoria. Just quickly select my answer. I know this one. I think it's a trick question, if I'm being honest. Again, I should probably stop playing along because I'm getting into it with you guys and I think I'm having a few slips of the tongue here and giving the answer away. Shout out to Simon, he's back. Where'd you go, pal? Can't believe you left me. And the answer for this one is false. Most of you got that one right. It might have been because of me. A note from the Quizmaster says it's false, though it was the first to be visited by a member of the royal family when Prince Albert called by in 1886. I think that's why a lot of people, I thought, would have got that one wrong, but most of you got that right. So I'll give you all the pat on the back again. Shout out to Steph, who's still leading the leaderboard from next door but two. True or false, Turf Moor has hosted an FA Cup semi-final. So true or false, Turf Moor has hosted an FA Cup semi-final. I won't say anything at this point because I think I keep giving answers away. So true or false, Turf Moor has hosted an FA Cup semi-final. Was of course true. Huddersfield Town beat Notts County 2-1 at Turf Moor in 1922. I knew that. So there's a few of you putting in the comments false. If I know it at my ripe young age, and you boys should have got it. Right, Turf Moor held its first international women's match in 2003 when England beat which nation? Was it A, Australia, B, France, C, Scotland, or D, USA? I went to this one. So Turf Moor held its first international women's match in in 2003 when England beat which nation? Ignore the March, I don't know why I put that there. Was it Australia, France, Scotland, or USA? I'm young enough, Kieran. Young enough, mate. And the answer for this one, just wait for the quiz to be on pause. There we go. The answer was, of course... Oh, Anthony Davies going out in the comments and committing. We're getting it wrong. It was, of course, Australia. A lot of you gone for France. Kieran went for France. Scotland. Malcolm's gone for Scotland. No, I do remember this one. It was Australia. I was there. Before women's football become a lot bigger. So who captained England's under-20 side when they played at Turf Moor against the Netherlands in 2005? Was it Gary Cahill, Richard Chaplow, James Milner, or Nigel Reo-Coker? Nigel Reo-Coker, there's a blast from the past. So who captained England's under-20s when they played at Turf Moor against the Netherlands in 2005? Was it Gary Cahill, Richard Chaplow, James Milner, or Nigel Reo-Coker? I remember this one. I'll tell you why in a second. Don't want to give the answers away again. Anthony's gone for Gary Cahill. You worried me then, Anthony. I thought it was Gary Cahill because I've gone for Richard Chaplow, but it was, of course, Richard Chaplow. A little note here from the Quizmaster. It was Burnley's own Richard Chaplow who wore the captain's armband. Chaplow played 65 times for the first team after coming through the youth setup. That's why I remembered it, because I remember knowing that it was a Claret player, but I think that Gary Cahill was in there to try and fool some of you, and obviously it got you. So which of the current stands at Turf Moor is the oldest? Is it the Bob Lord stand, the Cricket Field stand, the Jimmy McIlroy stand, or the James Hargreaves stand? So which of the current stands at Turf Moor is the oldest? Is it the Bob Lord, the Cricket Field, Jimmy Mac, or the James Hargreaves stand? Kieran says easy that one, come on. I reckon 100% of people won't get this one right. Phil Moore's gone for cricket field. Anthony's gone for cricket field. Malcolm's gone for cricket field. See, 50-50. I told you not everyone will get it right. Kieran, you got it right as well. It was, of course, a cricket field. Like I said, I think because the Bob Lord's smaller and looks a little bit run down more, I think. Not really been at Bob Lord for a while, to be honest. I think, yeah, a lot of people will have got that one wrong, and they have. So, right, so next round. This is the pre-war round. So all the questions are obviously about Burnley pre-war. So, sorry to the Derby child, Leanne's child. I don't think you're going to get many of these right, buddy. So Burnley Football Club was founded in 1882 at a meeting at the Bull Hotel in the town. Which shop now sits at the location of the building where the meeting took place? Is it the British Heart Foundation, Burton's, Marks and Spencer's, or Mackie D's? So Burnley Football Club was founded in 1882 at a meeting at the Bull Hotel in the town. Which shop now sits at the location of the building where the meeting took place? Malcolm says he remembers a cricket field end being built. I've seen pictures of it being built. Just have a look at the leaderboard while we wait for the answers on this one. Steph still out in front. Kieran's committed in the comments. So is Anthony, so is Malcolm. And it is, of course, Burton. Oh, you three boys got it right. I got it right as well. So it was, of course, Burton's. Burton's and Dorothy Perkins. I think Dorothy Perkins is upstairs, isn't it? No, it's downstairs. I've been in town for like 2 months because of lockdown. Can't remember it. Right, so which club did Burnley beat to win the 1914 FA Cup final? Was it Blackburn, Liverpool, Man City, or West Ham? So which club did Burnley beat to win the 1914 FA Cup final? Was it Blackburn, Liverpool, Man United, or West Ham? I think I'm pretty confident with this one. So which club did Burnley beat to win the 1914 FA Cup final? Blackburn, Liverpool, United, or West Ham? I think everyone's going to get this one right. It was, of course, Liverpool. A couple of years ago for Man United. Malcolm's even got the score right. You don't get any bonus points for that, buddy. And those, a few of you are commenting in the questions. I'm fine with that. But obviously next week, if you can get involved a bit earlier and try and get on my quiz and do it that way, it's a bit better because you get involved in all the leaderboards and stuff like that. And we're all going to be doing it again next week. So which player became Burnley's all-time record goal scorer by scoring 187 goals in 337 games between 1923 and 1932? Was it George Beale, Benny Cross, Len Smelt, or Willie Watson? So which Burnley player became Burnley's all-time record goal scorer by scoring 187 goals in 337 games between 1923 and 1932? Was it George Beale, Benny Cross, Len Smelt, or Willie Watson? I'll be honest, I haven't got a Scooby on that one. With it being history, I should probably know it. Cav's gone into second, by the way. George Beale, I got it right. I'll be honest, it were a guess. I'll be honest on that one. So the answer was George Beale. Anthony's gone for Benny Cross because he's his great-great-grandfather. A couple more questions left in this round. So Burnley won the 1920-21 First Division title and famously went unbeaten for a long-standing record amount of games. It was only bettered by the Arsenal team of 2003-04. How many games was it? I did see this the other day, but I forgot it, to be honest. So Burnley won the 1920-21 First Division title and famously went unbeaten for a long-standing record amount of games. It was only bettered by the Arsenal team of 2003-04, of course the Invincibles. How many games was it? Was it 20, 25, 30, 35? As my little boy just goes off to bed. It was 30. I've got that one wrong, to be honest. Got that one wrong. There's one question left in this round. The answer was, of course, 30. I got that one wrong. So, which all-time English football great began his career at Burnley and became the youngest Clarets to pull on a first-team shirt before he moved to Everton in 1937? Was it Gordon Banks, Tommy Lawton, Nat Lofthouse or Stanley Matthews? So, which all-time English football great began his career at Burnley and became the youngest Claret to pull on a first-team shirt before a move to Everton in 1937? Now, I obviously wasn't aware. I wasn't alive at this time, obviously. But I wasn't aware that any of them played for Burnley, so I'm going to have a guess. Was it A, Gordon Banks, B, Tommy Lawton, C, Nat Lofthouse, or D, Stanley Matthews? I am going to guess. I've just put my guess in. So which all-time English great began his career at Burnley? Gordon Banks, Tommy Lawton, Lofthouse, or Stanley Matthews? It was Tommy Lawton. Didn't know that. No relation to Matthew, I presume. Simon says, Cod tonight, Jose. I'll see if the missus will let me on it, pal. Probably not. Right, the next round is all about goal scorers, but first of all, I'll just quickly look at the league table. Steph has extended his lead to 40 points now. There's only 10 questions left, so I doubt Steph will be caught. But Cavs in second now, not Dunk BFC. Dunk BFC is in third though. Mark Peel's in fourth, and Jordan Crosdale's gone above me. So I must be down out of the top 5. But who scored the most goals for the Burnley? Was it Andy Cook or David Ayres? So who scored the most goals for Burnley? Was it Andy Cook or David Ayres? I haven't selected my question yet. I'll just wait until the quiz is on pause before I... Pretty confident with this one. Quiz has been unpaused. Oh, there's a few of you in the comments arguing over it. There's a couple of different answers. Was, of course, Andy Cook. Most of you got that one wrong. I got it right, just to put that out there. And that's put me back in fourth, so I'll take that. I've gone back above Mark Peel. Sorry, Mark. So the answer was, of course, Andy Cook. Next question. Which striker who scored 58 league goals for the club initially joined on a short loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers? He left Burnley to join Stoke City in 2019. Was it Charlie Austin, Danny Ings, Sam Vokes, or Stephen Ward? So which striker who scored 58 league goals for the club initially joined on a short loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers? He left Burnley to join Stoke City in 2019. Was it Charlie Austin, Danny Ings, Sam Vokes, or Stephen Ward? Pretty sure majority will get this one right. Even the young Derby lad might get this one right. It's quite current, this one, isn't it? Was, of course, Sam Vokes. 100% of you got that one right. Malcolm did get it wrong in the comments though, so there's someone that got it wrong. But it was, of course, Sam Vokes, leaving Stoke at the start of this season. Right, in the post-war period, since 1946, which striker holds the record for the number of first-team goals scored for Burnley FC at 132? Is it Paul Fletcher, Andy Payton, Ray Pointer, or Sam Vokes? So in the post-war period, since 1946, which striker holds the record for the number of first-team goals scored for Burnley FC at 132? Was it Paul Fletcher, Andy Payton, Ray Pointer, or Sam Vokes? The answer was, of course, Ray Pointer. I'll be honest, I went for Andy Payton. I've got that one wrong. I've let myself down. That's put me out of the top 5, by the way. Shambles. Don't know where I am because I'm like top 5. Like I said earlier, I'm not worth mentioning. I went for Andy Payton, Kieran, but evidently not. Right, true or false, Danny Ings scored more league goals for Burnley than Andre Gray. So true or false, Danny Ings scored more league goals for Burnley than Andre Gray. Simon says Gifton Noel Williams. Spelling mistake, and he's clearly taking them, Michael. So true or false, Danny Ings scored more league goals for Burnley than Andre Gray. Kieran's gone true. Malcolm's gone true. And the answer was true. It's true. Danny Ings scored 38 league goals for the club. Andre Gray only scored 32. There you go. Nice little note from the quizmaster there. Giving me some stats to read out, making it look like I know what I'm talking about. When I don't, I'm just reading what he's wrote. Right, goal scorers. Who scored more goals for Burnley? Graham Alexander or Chris Eagles? So who scored more goals for Burnley? Greza or... I'm going to say Kreza, but it don't work, does it? So Graham Alexander or Chris Eagles? Who scored more goals for Burnley? Graham Alexander or Chris Eagles? I'm not sure if it's a bit of a trick one, this. I think he's put these two together because of Greza's penalties. Maybe he's made us think that Greza's going to score more because of his penalties. We'll see in a second. I've gone for Greza. Everyone's saying it's Greza. It were Chris Eagles. It were Chris Eagles. Well done, Adam. He's got us there. Chris Eagles scored 26 goals for Burnley. Graham Alexander got 24. Well, I got that one wrong. Simon says, wow, Eagles. That's what I'm thinking. Right, time for the next round. We'll just quickly again look at the league table. I am nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. Steph's still out on top with 331. Looks like he's wrapped it up. He's nearly as far ahead as Liverpool. You got Cav in second, Dunk BFC in third, Mark Peel up to fourth, and Jordan Croysdale, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, buddy, in fifth. So Steph's got 331. His nearest challenger is Cav, like I said, and he's got 283. So Steph is a long way in front. I know I'm still shocked at Eagles, by the way, just like you all are. But the next round is all about Sean Dyche. So Sean Dyche began his playing career with which club, though he left without making a first-team appearance? Was it Aston Villa, Birmingham City, Nottingham Forest or Sheffield Wednesday? So Sean Dyche began his playing career with which club, though he left without making a first-team appearance? Was it Aston Villa, Birmingham City, Nottingham Forest or Sheffield Wednesday? Simon's asking Stefan for FaceTime proof. To be fair, I've purposefully asked Adam not to put questions you can quickly Google, and I think that's why the rounds are so short. Adam says, thanks for playing, everybody. He just put a message up on my quiz. This is the final round. So Sean Dyche began his playing career at which club? Villa, Birmingham, Forest or Wednesday? And the answer is Forest. Obviously, he's a big fan of Cloughy for that reason. Looks like my little boy didn't want to go to bed. He's back downstairs. You can probably hear him. The answer was, of course, like I said, Nottingham Forest. Right, so who scored the opening goal under Sean Dyche as Burnley beat Wolves 2-0 in October 2012? Was it Danny Ings, Chris McCann, Martin Patterson or Junior Stanislas? So who scored the opening goal under Sean Dyche as Burnley beat Wolves 2-0 in October 2012, which was, of course, Sean Dyche's first game? Was it Danny Ings, Chris McCann, Martin Patterson or Junior Stanislas? Little boy trying to get in the kitchen. And the answer was, of course, Martin Patterson. Malcolm says, how big is that bottle of beer? 660ml, buddy. I think biggest one they had in shop. It must look bigger on camera. I don't know. It's one of the big ones, but it's not that big. Right, so which of the following players did Sean Dyche sign first? Scott Arfield, Ashley Barnes, Tom Heaton, or David Jones? So which of the following players did Sean Dyche sign first? Was it Scott Arfield, Ashley Barnes, Tom Heaton, or David Jones? Looks like a bottle of wine. Estrella Dam. I did think about having the wine, but I thought it might look not manly enough on it with a wine. Oh, I didn't think that. That's what the girlfriend said, to be fair. I'm going to have to quickly guess here. I forgot to guess again. I'm chatting to you boys. Will you be doing the quiz next week, Daniel says? Yes, we will. We're going to try and make this a weekly feature, especially during lockdown. I went for Scott Arfield, but it was, of course, Tom Heaton. Kieran's gone for Ashley Barnes. Nobody selected Ashley Barnes, Kieran, on my quiz. But it was, of course, Tom Heaton. He was the first player that Sean Dyche signed out of them lot. But yeah, we will be doing the quiz next week. Like I said, we're going to try and continue it during lockdown. I will quickly wrap things up afterwards and try and give you more information on that at the end of the quiz. We'll do that in a couple of seconds. There's only 2 questions left. Steph's 44 points in front. I don't think he can be caught now. Sean Dyche's 200th game in charge of Burnley came in January 2017 when we played Arsenal at the Emirates. But what was the score? Was it 1-0 to Arsenal, 2-1 to Arsenal, a 1-1 draw, or 3-0 to Arsenal? So Sean Dyche's 200th game in charge of Burnley came in January 2017 when Burnley played Arsenal at the Emirates. But what was the score? I think Adam put this on his Instagram page this week, this question, so I think I know this one. I originally got it wrong on his Instagram page, and it was 2-1 to Arsenal. I think I went for 3-0, just like a lot of you boys have. But I did get it right this time because it was on Adam's page this week. Like I said, if you haven't already, please go and check out Adam's page. I'll just quickly put the banner up again at the bottom so you can see it. Oh, I've done it wrong. There we go. He's got a page on Instagram where you can do daily quizzes. Please go and check it out. He's done all the hard work on this quiz. I'm just essentially talking to a camera. He's done all the hard work. He's put it all into my quiz and stuff and made all the questions. Final question though. Sean Dyche has been in charge for 338 games, but have Burnley won more or lost more of these games? So Sean Dyche has been in charge for 338 games, but have Burnley won more or lost more of these games? I think I've got this one right. That crying you can hear is Cav because he couldn't catch Steph. But they have won more games. They have won more just. Burnley have won 128 games under Sean Dyche, which is 37.9%, and lost 119 times, which is 35.2%. A fine record, given the amount of Premier League games. So congratulations, Stefan Wilson. As I said at the start of the quiz, I fully expected him to win it, and he has done. Hopefully he plays every week, and he can try and maintain his crown next week. But thanks everyone that's been playing along. I finished 6th, by the way. Steph was 1st, Cav was 2nd, Dunk BFC was 3rd, Mark Peel was 4th, Jordan Croysdale, again mate, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, was 5th, just 5th, I was 2 points behind him in 6th, R. Bleasdale 7th, Catty 8th, JLL93 was 9th, and Vicky Smith was 10th. So thanks everyone for playing along. As I mentioned earlier, we will hopefully be doing more of these. Pretty much every week, especially during lockdown. It gives us all something to do, doesn't it? I went to Adam with the idea of doing it pretty much quite regular. It might not stay every week. After lockdown, it might end up going to every 2 weeks or something, but that's something we'll chat about later in time. But if you have enjoyed it, please let us know. If you'd like to change anything, it's the first time we've done anything like this. Well, the first time I've done anything like this, and the first time that me and Adam have worked together and stuff. So if you've got any recommendations, you've got anything you think you'd change, you can write them now in the comments. Because I will be I've not read all the comments. I've tried to keep up to date with them, but a lot of you have been commenting. So I'll read all the comments afterwards. If there's any recommendations in there, you can send a message to the page as well. If you don't follow us already, there's all the things at the bottom if you want to follow us on anything. And like I said, go and follow Adam's page on Instagram. But please message us and let us know any any recommendations of what you do differently, and if you've been playing along and you've enjoyed it, thank you very much. We will be back next week if lockdown is still on, which it probably will be. But I'll tell you what, we'll put it out there now. We'll definitely do one next week. 100% we'll do one next week, as long as that's all right with Adam. I've not even asked him. I presume it is, because he does all the hard work, like I said. But we'll definitely do one next week. But I just want to say thanks to everyone that's played. Simon says, recommendation, can I get 20 points ahead at start next week? That's not the sort of recommendation we're looking for, but it's not our fault. How can I word this? It's not my fault you didn't revise. I'll put that. It's not my fault you didn't revise. But well played to Steph. Thanks everyone for playing along. We'll do it next week, and hopefully we'll keep doing this pretty much every week afterwards. But thanks for playing, and we'll see you next week. Oh, and if you haven't already, I just want to say, if you're not, if you've just come across us, please feel free to like the page. We do a lot of stuff. We're not just a podcast. I think we might have to do a bit of a rebrand, because everyone thinks we're just a podcast. We're not. We do loads of stuff now. But if you haven't already, please check out the podcast. Please check us out on what's it called, YouTube. I've recently done an interview with the Bertie B streaker. Do you remember the Bertie B streaker from that game against Preston? I recently interviewed him and chatted to him about the day and stuff like that. So please go ahead, check that out on YouTube, or check it out on the podcast as well. It's available on iTunes, Acast, Spotify, Google Play and more. All my social medias are at the bottom, and I'll just quickly get another shout out for Adam in there before we go. Oh, I've done it wrong. There we go. Please check him out on Instagram for daily Clarets quizzes. I think I got 5 out of 5 today for only the second time. His quizzes are really, really good. They're there every morning. I normally just wake up, read them, do the quiz, and then get on with my life. But it's really, really good. But shout out to Adam again. Shout out to everyone. Thanks for playing. And hopefully we'll see you next week.